Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the April 14th, 2022 Pantheon Rise of the Fallen development stream. I am your host, David Roenick Schlau. With me, as always, is my co-host, Tony Guidi, aka Minus.
Hey, David. Excited for tonight. How about you?
Very excited for tonight. Obviously, last month we had a pretty massive stream. We showed off a lot of great stuff. Really exciting as far as progression, made some major strides, had a lot to show off. This month we're going to be kind of checking in with the departments, seeing what everybody's up to, what they're engaged in, how development's moving along. And then we're going to show some new things, checking in the constant development of Wild's End, as that happens alongside the world building and development. Tony, you want to kick things off for us?
Yeah, for sure. So what we're going to do is we're going to start, as David said, going through that kind of a department roundup. Let you guys know what is being worked on, where progress is. And we got some special clips we're actually going to play for you too. We got little quick interviews or clips from some of the people within the department. So some neat stuff, a little different than something we've done before. So let's get started with the programming team. What do you think, Dave? Is that a good place to start?
Sounds great.
All right. So with the programming team, one of the buzzwords that has been said for a while now is networking. I know that if you've kept up on patch notes or the Road to Alpha roadmap that we put out in the newsletter, we've talked a lot about getting into networking, and we've talked for a while about getting to that point when we could. So I want to let you guys know that they are deep into network implementation. There's still further work being done as well from the team on environmental tools and cleanup through the internal testers, which we're going to hear from a little bit too. And what's really cool is, David, they're working on snow effects. We're hoping to see that soon. Everybody liked the weather effects and everything that was going on with the rain and the fog. I think you really liked the fog, if I don't remember.
Yeah, right. I love the fog. I'm super excited for snow, though. I mean, I'm the cold. The dwarves are, that whole area is going to be amazing.
Yeah. So some of that's going to be shown in the future here. We're excited to show that, but instead of us talking about it, let's play a little clip here from the programming team and see what everybody thinks, and we'll kind of wrap it up and talk through it. I got a chance to sit with Kyle here, our lead programmer. And Kyle, why don't you give us a little bit of idea of what's going on in programming right now?
So we've been focused on bringing Vinyl, our network implementation, up to production level, meaning going through all the old to-dos that we left ourselves and cleaning those up, and bringing some of the more background features that weren't immediately necessary to get up and running on the library, bringing those up to production quality as well. That has been finished, and we are doing actual integration into Pantheon now with the library. So we've got test connections being made, and the process now is just porting over all of our components that are on the player controller to the new network library. And that's the ongoing process that I'm on right now.
And Kyle, I know from internal discussions, you've now been able to shift pretty much most of your focus, I believe, to networking. Whereas before, being a part of a small programming team, obviously you had to help fix bugs and issues that would come up. But do you feel really good about how much time you're able to put into networking now? I know you've sort of been waiting for this.
Oh, yeah. That was sort of the plan, was to work on networking initially sort of part-time while putting out fires and assisting the rest of the team where needed for a majority of my daily tasks, right? Now that has shifted over to just full-time networking, basically. Once in a while, I'll get pulled off of it and work on something different, but that's just to help somebody put out a fire, and I'm right back onto full-time networking. Yeah.
That's excellent to hear. I know a lot of the community has been waiting, probably not as much as you, but has been waiting to hear that networks being implemented and to eventually be able to celebrate that moment when networking is completed. So good luck to you. Thank you for all you and your programming team do. And we're excited to hear when that finish line eventually gets there.
Yep. You guys will hear it very soon.
All right. So he said we'll see and hear that very soon.
Like the words, very soon. And it sounds like they're making some big strides, not only bringing the to-dos up to speed, but some of the background features up and running into like a production level. And it's all being implemented right into the game. And of course, obviously, the team focusing just full time on networking is going to be huge. It sounds super encouraging.
Yeah, I like how chat saying for context, very soon is very good. I agree, very good indeed. We know that the networking has been a long process. It's been something we've wanted to put a lot of time into, and it's a huge step and us getting to, it's not the final step. It's a huge step in our roadmap to alpha for sure. So programming team's rocking and rolling. That's good news for everybody. So David, why don't you talk about the next department? And I'll put, put up some images here for you too while you're doing it?
I would love for you to put up some images. Yeah, we're going to check in with the art team here. Why don't you throw up the weapon stuff? You got it.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, the art team has been making some huge progress on the basic weaponry. A lot of the starting materials have been completed, and now work is being implemented not only in the weapons but armor. The material libraries are being, you'll see, as you see here, they're on the weapons, and soon we'll start to see it in the armor. That's one facet the art department's working on. As well, the animations, we're making some big progress there. We have the art team working on some, the best thing I can kind of describe it as, it's almost sort of like, when you look at traditional animation and you see the various sort of it's like in-betweens, right, of each animation thing. So we have drawings of that, and they're eventually going to be implemented, and they're really taking some original sort of context and original kind of ideas and applying it to casting animation, some things that you probably haven't seen yet. In addition, on the animation side of things, we have the idle pose improvements, and that's, I believe, in-game. Is that right? You'd know better than I would there, Tony.
Yeah, the idle poses for like basic weaponry has all been sort of updated, improved, and pretty much good to go for those idle poses. A lot of it's gotten done. It's looking pretty good.
Yeah. And then I this little bean drop. The team's working on designing one of the Terminus's big baddies. Unfortunately, we got nixed from showing it to you guys, but it looks awesome. You'll have to take our word for it on that one. But yeah, our tournament rocking and rolling also.
Yeah, for sure. And just to give you a little more context on the animations that David was talking about, and like the framework that we're working on the art team. I'm sure people had heard the developer roundtable where they discussed it a bit. So if you haven't, go back and listen to that. But it's really neat looking through all the different types of casting. I'm not going to go into detail on those different types, but thinking about the different types of casting, healing, damage spells, stuff like that, and all the variations of it. We're seeing these really amazing frame by frame renderings that are really painting a picture for how we're going to animate. And some of them are really cool. David, you've gotten a chance to see some of those. They are some innovative poses and casting techniques that just look incredible. So the art team is doing a ton of things on different fronts right now, for sure.
I look forward to the day that we can put out the Art of Pantheon book, because between all the concept art stuff that we've come up with, and now these pencil sketches, very rendered and finished, but like just seeing the casting animations or the combat, not only to the player characters but to the NPCs as well. It's amazing.
Should we put it out there that it's also saved Joppa? We used to have to make Joppa try to do these poses and fighting styles in his room so we could get visuals of it. Now he doesn't have to anymore. I hope that footage is out there somewhere, right? That would be great.
That will be in the director's cut.
Joppa doing backflips and spinning kicks and stuff would be great. Yeah. I'd love to see that. Awesome. Well, thank you to the art team for providing some of the images. There is a lot of weaponry out there that they're working on. And again, getting those materials that you've all seen before, those metal materials, into different armor types is also going to be really cool. We're excited to show that, like we did with a lot of the weapons previously. So,
yeah. And I think you also, we really didn't even get into some of those weapons that we just showed are new and people haven't seen it. The shields, so there's much more to come there.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's getting cranked out. Like the speed is impressive. Like what we're showing you is already old. And it's kind of the case on some of the stuff we're going to show you later too. But David, let's get into the QA team, the quality assurance team. A lot of people know them as testers. They have been really, really hard at work. I'm talking almost every day. Their communication channel is just impressive. It's talking about the different things they're working through. But again, I don't want to sit here and talk like I'm an expert of it. I just sit and watch in awe at the hard work they do. but we actually got a chance to sit with the QA manager. So let's go ahead and we'll roll some of that audio. Okay, and to talk a little bit about QA, I am here with Kim Morrison, our manager of quality assurance, and her and her team have been doing some amazing work. But Kim, rather than me talk about what you guys have been up to, why don't you give us a little insight into all the things you've worked on?
Hey, Tony, thanks for the intro and thanks for having us on the stream tonight. So, QA received the first HDRP conversion build a couple months ago, and we have been really hard at work testing everything that you could possibly think of. We've started with balance, so we were grouping up and we were testing abilities, we were testing how different classes felt with each other. We definitely try odd groups, odd number of people, large groups, small groups, medium groups. And then we pass a lot of that feedback on to creative and whatever other team, perhaps programming, gets involved. And, we kind of have these discussions on what we're seeing. And then, we moved on to the more technical stuff where we basically dug every ability and spell apart and we tested everything, and we tested them for sometimes hours, just hitting them in every different angle you can possibly think of, in the box, out of the box, everywhere. The next place we hit was terrain. So we had this whole terrain integrity test plan that QA came up with, and we all split up and basically walked up and down through the valleys, up the mountains, everywhere, and we were looking for any kind of problem you could possibly think of. Trees that were floating, NPCs that were floating, NPCs who don't have weapons, tears in the terrain, places where you can fall, places where you can get stuck. We went through the water. We did it all. And I have to say, we're feeling really, really good with how things are feeling. There's still more testing to be done, but I guess I'll leave you with two kind of notable / maybe funny bugs. So right now there's no eyeballs in Terminus, so we look kind of creepy. It's kind of the thing that nightmares are made of. And then the other thing is we're kind of working on reproducing this bug where sometimes when you log into the game, you die. Like, you die immediately. And we're just kind of calling that the Ronic simulator bug.
That works great. He's well known for that.
Absolutely.
Well, Kim, that's awesome. And I know that you've also been responsible in your team for really pushing builds. I noticed how frequently you've been getting those updates and staging those builds out so that you're progressing through the different things, eliminating bugs and checking back up on them as well. I mean, how many builds would you say you've gone through already since HDRP?
So there's definitely been more builds than what we've deployed to test, because with testing, as long as we have something solid to test, like one of the creative devs maybe has something really solid and complete that they want us to test, then we'll go ahead and push it. But we tend to not push when things are in the middle of a transition or middle of being created. So once at least one dev says, hey, I've got this great thing that y'all can test, we go ahead and push, and we've probably done 5 really big ones. Everyone was pretty happy with where they had things. We get it pushed out, we test, and then we give feedback, and there's regression testing, and we go back and forth and we iterate together. It's actually really fun.
That's awesome. So, Kim, thank you to you and your team for all your hard work. I know you're pushing towards us getting to that potential to eventually have that external test. So without everything that you and your team do, I know we wouldn't get there. And I know the community loves hearing that. So,
all right. Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, David. Wow. So, I mean, I'm sure you have something to say about.
The Ronic simulator. A2 QA A2. And here I was about to talk about how they're the unsung heroes of the team. They really, their work is super repetitive. They do some deep testing over and over, and it the whole situation is impressive. It's a lot of work, and they don't really get enough credit for it. But I'm not going to say any of that because
of the Ronic simulator, the Destiny.
Because of the Ronic simulator. But I do love how she mentioned that the game is so good that it's melting the eyeballs of the characters now. It's like
it is terrifying. It was only in the most recent build that we saw, so it's probably an easy bug to fix. But I posted a picture in our group chat of my halfling. It's like straight out of like a horror movie. It's scary looking.
So, yeah, we'll get that fixed.
We need to have like an area of NPCs without eyes, like the eyeless or something. That would be pretty sick. Scary, real scary.
Yeah. I'm not going to mess around with QA too much because if you want to be on anybody's good side on the team, it's them. So I'll leave that at that. But hey guys and gals, it's that time. I love to talk about it. If you guys like what you see here, please go to pantheonmmo.com and check out our pledge page. We have all kinds of tiers. All kinds of pledges. I think we're having some new pledges soon. I might talk out of turn. I don't know. But yeah, check it out. And yeah, Pantheon's a crowd-funded game, so we really appreciate what everybody does for us. And if you want to help out, please.
And honestly, so. Even like being able to do these streams and interact with you all in the community, and the amount that we're able to interact in Discord and all the social media, like it keeps everybody going. I know we say it a lot, David, but there's a lot of tough days of just working, and getting those few moments to interact with the community always brightens up everybody's day. So thank you guys, honestly, for everything you do. It's incredible. And thank you for all the support that's provided. So David, how about, this is a fun one. Don't
forget to send people to our Twitter and our Facebook and all our social media. Yep. Sorry, I'm the
of course.
Yes, we're moving on. On. So we're going to be talking next to the design team. The design team has kind of been working on class refinement. You heard a little bit about the QA and the testing feedback coming back with combat balance and challenge. They're also working on some VFX additions to spells and abilities. But again, you don't want to hear from Minus and I, so let's turn it over to the experts.
Yeah, and this one's a little bit longer, but this one, get ready for beans. Everybody, get ready for beans.
Here come the beans.
Hey everybody, I just wanted to say thank you to Adam Tehom Mostel, who is joining me here to talk a little more in depth for the design team. I'm sure that David and myself could talk a little bit about it, but Adam, you're in there, you live that life. So, what's going on in design right now?
Oh my goodness, a lot. that's honestly, like, that's the first kind of phrase that comes to my mind. And that's because we are moving on many different fronts all at once. We at the kind of conclusion of HDRP, and as the new project kind of came back online and as we got access to our tools, we have been working on updates to our combat formulas, to our pacing, to our class designs that have all been intended to kind of be part of this next build, right? This next kind of major milestone that we've been working towards. And so as part of that, there are a lot of components that go into that, right? There's, of course, a lot of balancing, a lot of tuning, a lot of ability work, both on player and NPCs. And then, of course, in addition to that, we've gotten support for other things as well, right? One of the most recent ones that comes to mind is actually crafting. This is probably going to be exciting for a lot of people out there. And I know we talked about this on the last producer's letter a little bit, but crafting is really like fully underway. We have been working on getting data into our tables, getting everything structured out for that modeling. And we're expecting that to go into testing very soon. Don't have a date yet, but we're pretty much almost there for that first pass on crafting, and that's really exciting. We have been very heavily focused on updating itemization. So, especially as we talk about the fact that we've updated the population in Thronefast, and of course, the changes to abilities, the changes to formulas, the changes to stat weights. There's a lot of work being done just to update the loot tables, bring things a little bit more in line with kind of what our vision is for how frequently players should be finding items off of enemies and what kind of items they should be able to find off of enemies. Doing a lot of work to get our itemization up to par on that front, while also doing some exploration work on, some additional tuning that we may want to do on that front. Nothing finalized, but again, as we go through the iterative process, as we take a look at kind of all of our designs that we had on paper prior to this conversion, and see how it's all rolling out, right? Against our expectations, against what we want to see, against what QA is finding. And they find a lot. Like, honestly, they've been great. Really appreciate everything that they have done for us so far. But, it is bringing things to light, which we always expect to happen. And so there's, additional adjustments that are going underway there, and additional system design, and just, more fine tuning and massaging to get things, in line with where we want them to be from a, kind of design level. And then, on my part, I am working really heavily on just tweaking and tuning those class abilities. QA, again, has done a great job at identifying issues as they crop up. That has actually revealed some things that, even though they were working for us, again, on paper, As we extrapolate those out across a number of levels, we look at some of the scaling between abilities, if we need to make adjustments, and if we do make adjustments, how does that go downstream? So there's a lot of back-end work occurring there. And I want to stress that, right? Because, we mentioned that, for example, Cleric were going to be part of this next build. And Cleric is up, right? Cleric is online.
It's exciting news. Exciting news.
It is, yeah. I mean, I'm happy to see it. And, it's up in a partial state, right? And I think that's an expectation that I definitely want to set. We are still in pre-alpha right after this whole conversion, and it's not a revamp, right? I think some people have been afraid that we're like refactoring combat, and it's not that, right? What it is that we've taken the existing structure, right, the existing tools that we have, the existing formulas that we have, and we walked it back and we said, look, what is the experience that we want to provide to the players? If you listen to the Parting the Veil with Joppa recently, where he talks about soloing and grouping, part of our formula adjustments and kind of what we needed to solve for was that relationship between solo and group play and the kind of experience that we want players to have. And he gave the example of the wolves that you would be running through AVP and a wolf might run up to you and one shot you, and that's just that's not kind of what we're aiming for. And so, we needed to tweak things on the back end to make sure that not only was that wolf not going to be a problem, but that, you could still have reasonable challenge where you would expect to find it. So, and so as part of that, when we talk about the classes that we bring online, we're bringing them online within a very specific framework. And we want to make sure that those classes are fun in that framework before we kind of go all in and flesh them out as fully as we want to. So if we take the Cleric, for example, they have a unique class resource, Celestial Power, which we did a little bit of redesign on what Celestial Power looked like and how that functioned, as part of this newest pass. But I wasn't happy with how it was rolling out, right? Like, again, in practice, it kind of wasn't meeting expectations. And so for the time being, I made a decision to just not turn Celestial Power on, right? And so you could say, okay, well, the Cleric is not, fully implemented, but, it exists, right? We're trying to make it fun without needing its unique class resource, right? Like the core ability kit, the core resource management should be fun and engaging and should kind of feel the way that we want the Cleric to feel. And then the Celestial Power component becomes another layer on top of that just makes something that's already fun and already exciting even more exciting.
It's a good strategy. It's a good strategy to start with the core, right? And if the core is good, all those layers are pretty and more fun. So
yeah. And that's like the Monk is a great example. The Monk, I spent a good amount of time playtesting that alongside Joppa and just, talking through what was his experience, what is he looking for? Like, is this kind of meeting the feel of the Monk that he, wanted to achieve? And, it took some time to talk through that and work through that and fine tune it. But where we landed after giving it, that kind of dedicated pass, it's really fun. Like, it's honestly probably like, I'm not normally a Monk player, but I actually really enjoy playing a Monk now in the current system just because of all of the different options that it has, the decisions that have to be made. When do you use your defensive cooldowns? When do you use things for crowd control and interrupts? It just feels very visceral. Those decisions feel weighty now, right? And that's really what we wanted to go for. And Monk is really hitting that note. But, there are other classes that are not. Rogue is a really good example where, my current focus is going into that Rogue's toolkit and, seeing where it needs to be fine-tuned, where things need to be realigned to make it feel as engaging as, some of the other classes. So, I think as we finalize those and as we figure those out and as we make sure that those are doing what we need them to do across the entire span of content that we plan for, it's going to be a lot easier for us to bring the other classes online. But right now, a lot of that focus is still on, taking the things that we have implemented and making sure that they are fun and that they are up to standards.
That's awesome. Hey, thank you for the update. And I'll give a little tease that you're actually going to be talking about something people haven't heard of yet in combat in the upcoming newsletter. So a little tease for the newsletter later in the month. But Adam, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all you and your team do. And I'm sure you've definitely gotten the community excited for all this.
Hey, you're very welcome. I am excited for them to see it.
All right. So always fun to chat with Adam, but gave some great updates there, David. There's a lot of beans in there. Did you catch them all?
I hope so. Lot to digest for sure. The things that stood out to me, I know you love crafting, so we can talk a little bit about crafting. Yes, I know your claim to fame. You were the first person to craft on stream, so congrats on that. But I'm a big crafter. I always find it's like whenever I need a moment to like relax in MMOs, I love crafting. So glad to hear that that's kind of progressing and moving along, and I've seen it, so I haven't just heard it. Cleric, huge. That it's getting back in game. I'm kind of myself. It's one of the classes that I've been considering, so I'm super excited about that personally. What else? The monk. I have to say, like the dedication and the sort of diligence in which the team is putting toward the classes. And Adam talked there a little bit about the monk, and I feel like each class is going to get that TLC too. I think that's what's going to be the game changer. I think that's going to be the thing that really makes Pantheon, a difference maker for Pantheon.
Yep. Yeah, without a doubt. And we teased it at the end there, but definitely check out the newsletter when it comes out. There's going to be a full article on something that's going to affect everybody who plays. It's a really neat addition. They've been working on it. QA has been helping test it like crazy. So check that out. Don't want to spoil it, but combat influencing, fun discussion coming up. So sure. The final team here, and definitely not, saving one of the best for last year for sure. It's the HR team, and it's exciting, David, to talk about the fact that there's 4 new positions that have been posted to our team. So we're currently looking for a character animator / rigger. We're looking for an environment concept artist. We're looking for a 3D environmental artist, world builder, and finally a 3D character artist. So really exciting when we have a chance to expand the team. And, as we've kind of talked about that this year being a big year in driving in that roadmap, obviously more hands are going to help. So, talking with the HR team, they told me that as we could imagine, there was a lot of interest in these positions, which is great to hear. We received a great many of applicants directly from HR, and they're going through them. So, we're looking to get some great people on board. So really excited. And I think you can see it's very art focused and world building and 3D and animation. So I think it's something a lot of people are probably pretty happy to hear about. So.
Yeah, for sure. I think, it just really goes to the progress we're making this year, and the expansion of the team just, reinforces that. And these are big positions. These aren't just, it's not like when we hired you for coffee. Yeah. These are.
I'm pretty good at getting coffee, though. I mean, let's be
fair. I mean, you're excellent. I mean, it's the reason why you're still here. So, no kidding. Obviously, to be fair, Tony I was on vacation, and Tony did a lot of work for the stream. So thank you there, Tony.
Hey, one team, one dream.
One team, one dream. So I guess that's it, huh?
So we got some exciting stuff to show still. It's a little longer of a stream today. I'd really like to hear from everybody in the comments when you're rewatching this, or in the comments to the chat right now, what you thought of having these little audio clips, getting to hear a little bit from the teams themselves. Just something different we want to do, because there's a lot of work being done, and we sit in these calls and we hear it, but we don't get to always talk about it, right? And you kind of see the updates in the Road to Alpha roadmap when we put it out in the newsletter. But just let me know how you guys thought about that. If you liked the little clips of sound, I know it's a little different, but I thought it was a way to kind of capture the spirit of some people without taking too much of the time. So, but David, we want to also show, right? So a lot of the stuff we've shown so far, we've shown before. We showed the weapon clips, which were new. But what do you say we show some cool stuff off, and we start with an area that the community has never seen before with a little introduction? What do you think?
Sounds perfect.
All right, here you go. A little quick 1 to 2 minute introduction to a new area that is in Wild's End. The Daedrym Ascent is a windswept crag carved into the mountains of Wild's End. Despite the overall traversal being a bleak, wind-hammered escarpment set in slate tones and muted grays, strong material variance arrives in the form of rich, fiery impositions of lichen and coarse, wire-like craigenweed, whose varnished copper outcroppings and foliage thrust upward into the stony tundra to offer stark contrast. The sheer blackened incline of the ascent terminates in an imposing edifice, a fortress-like structure, angular and repetitious in its design sensibilities, whereas in the draconian aesthetic holds sway, ancient polished stone of dense onyx enshrined in metallized silver and gunmetal leaf, harmoniously dressed by opulent fabrics wrought in royal regal purple, laced with cardinal ruby, while ever present, the sharp, hot scent of dragon as a begulling incense, the visible and incandescent breath that pervades the height of Daedrym Ascent. Beware the talon blight, dear traveler, as you make your way up this tortuous crag, for its fearsome touch still lingers upon the mountain stone rent long ago, torn asunder by a frightful dragon rage, still corrosive to the touch, yet bearing its baneful curse. Of course, there are many things to discover for the risks and danger that finds home in the Daedrym Ascent, and we'll leave those mysteries for you to solve. All right, David, so the Daedrym Ascent. Why don't you tell people a little bit about what you know about it?
What do I know about it? Well, I mean, everybody loves dragons, right? And it's a very sort of dragon-heavy influenced area. I think, it's funny because people were, we put out the promo and people were trying to guess what it was, and actually a lot of people got it based on the patch notes. But I think the area itself, it's got this ominous presence.
Well, hey, when you're talking about it, do we want to show some in-game of it? I mean, we showed concept art and did an intro, but do you want to show some in-game while you're kind of talking about it?
Whoa.
Does the community want to see that? I think they do. All right, let's go ahead and show some in-game. Here's the outside of the area, and David, you can kind of talk over this as well, but here it comes.
Okay.
So remember, guys, it is in development, guys. This is mid-development. That's what this streams. We want to do more of, David, right, is show in-development progress to people. I think it went really well with showing like what Wild's End used to look like and then getting into HDRP. So we want to show how much is being worked on, even if we can only show in progress. So here's the outside of it. So David, sorry, I interrupt you, but what do you think when you see some of this?
No, it's fine. You mean people don't want to just hear us talk? I thought that was okay. So like we said, like I think the area itself, it has this like ominous presence. You obviously you're climbing to heights here. It's another one of those situations where climbing is really going to come into play. And can I say that there's more than one way to get there? Am I allowed to talk about that? Yeah,
of course. Okay. I think you just did.
Yeah, I think I did. But yeah, no, I think it's this again. We always talk about scale, and we always talk about in this particular case, it's the views and the height and where you are when you arrive at the ascent. What you want to add some more? I don't want to talk about the inside yet.
Yeah, not yet. No, but you said it right. Like finding a way to traverse up. You're not seeing the enemies and the dangers that are going to face you. Will there be atmospheres you have to deal with? Will there be climates you have to deal with, or fractures? Who knows? It's a very interesting area, and there's no, at this point the foliage isn't in yet. Right, we're just doing the base designing. So there's going to be a lot of danger trying to just get up to the top. And as you see the video looping here, you can see there's a little bit of an inside there. So David, do you want to show some of that inside? It's early work.
Yeah. This is, again, everything you're seeing is super early. But let's check out the inside.
So what's really cool as I'm about to throw this up is keep in mind that what you guys just saw with the concept art, because it's going to come to life a little bit here. So let's go ahead and I'm going to show the inside. So you can see that the height of this, it's large, right? Again, theme in Wild's End. Massive sizes, oversized trees, deep waters, high up mountains, right? So very extreme differences in Wild's End, even with a smaller race. But I showed this, what you're seeing on the screen right now, I just wanted to show how cool that wall looks. I know that sounds silly, right, David? To say like, look at this wall. But the detail on the wall inside, right? What's that?
I said it doesn't sound silly to me when you see it,
Yeah, I mean the engraving and the textures that are used on this wall to kind of like tie into this really important area. And what we already said, dragon, right? Is there a dragon in here? I don't know. But is this made because of some dragon? I don't know. But pretty neat stuff. You can kind of see that's the start of the inside. And David, you were kind of talking about it earlier, that what you're seeing there is an entrance to what should be many, many paths and some good adventuring.
Yeah, I'm excited to see when we're finished here and when it's all lit. But again, I think this comes back to us wanting to show things and not just talk about it. Even in this early stage, I think it helps to show where we are with the scale, where we are with texture, where we are with just the mood that we're trying to set in Wild's End, and why it's going to be such a special zone.
Yep. So we were excited. I hope everybody enjoyed seeing Daedryms Ascent, another great area that we're going to hit. David, why don't you tell everybody how they can help support us? And then maybe we'll leave everybody with like a teaser ending. Do you guys want to see a little? Does everyone want to see a little bit more? A little bit more? All right.
Please
David.
go to pantheonmmo.com, hit the pledge pages. Pantheon's a crowdfunded game. As you can see, we're making some major progress this year, and every little bit helps. Yeah, you spoiled I wanted to say that we had one last teaser. You ruined my whole bit. You ruined my whole bit. No, we got one last teaser to sign off for the night. Again, what you're seeing is still in early development. Yeah,
it's awesome,
we think it's
though.
awesome.
It's so awesome.
So enjoy, and we'll see you next month.
Yeah, we're out, guys and girls, and everyone else out there. We're out, but enjoy this awesome review.